Hi there, I'm Mike Carlson. I want to thank Boulder Bookstore for inviting me to talk about my new book of poems, tips to help you do your best, and answer some questions. I've been a New York City public school teacher for 23 years. Each spring, I give my students the New York State ELA test, and the instructions to which always say something like, please follow along as I read you these tips to help you do your best. As I was writing this book, that phrase was in my head. It was the title of a number of different poems. I noticed that a lot of my poems sometimes fall into like an axiomatic didactic tone in some way, for better or worse. And I decided I would frame the whole collection sort of almost as a kind of provisional manual. I think my inspiration for poems is always comes from other poets and writers that I'm obsessed with. But I think if there's an inspiration for this book of poems acting as a manual, when I was a kid, my parents had a sort of library in the basement, bookshelves, and a lot of them were filled with sort of guidebooks, handbooks on all different topics. My father was into sailing, so there were sailing manuals. He was also in business. There were books like Sizzlemanship. There was actually a book called Scheme Your Way to Riches, How to Think Ahead in Chess, Dress for Success. He was an engineer, so he also had books like The Dynamics and Thermodynamics of Compressible Fluid Flow. And I guess I would just sort of stare at those books. Their titles are obviously still in my head, and maybe that in some way was an inspiration for this collection. I definitely think the process of writing poetry has helped me become a better person. Even just sort of the logistics of it, creating a space for myself to work on writing, looking at myself and my work critically, responding to that, evolving, persisting. I've been writing poetry seriously for over 30 years, and I think it kind of became an anchor for my just way of being in the world, and I think I've been able to apply that to so many different aspects of my life. I don't think poetry necessarily can help you live a better life, but I think likely it could. Probably. I'm going to read one poem from the book that is called I Write Poems Like This Now. It's a title I put on a lot of poems. You can put that title on any poem and it's true. But when I put it on this poem, it's stuck. And so this poem is called I Write Poems Like This Now. Last night I dreamed I was buying a dress shirt, but I couldn't articulate to the man what kind of stripe I wanted. I kept saying heathery, and I woke up feeling like my soul was a moron. Like Carl Jung was shaking his head at my subconscious dismissively. It was a dream about unsuccessfully purchasing a dress shirt, and I will carry that depravity up and down whatever corridors the wind drives through me always. So from now on, I only want to write if I can find myself in rags, wandering an abandoned city where all the windows are blown out and cinders keep falling. I want to meander past inscrutable rubble and hoist myself up through the incinerated chassis of bread trucks. I want to stand for an hour in a fog of soot until a drone comes down and hovers 6 inches in front of my face. I want to feel the hum of its motor and let its tiny propellers blow the ash out of my eyebrows. I want to follow that drone out of the city until color returns to the sky and the side of a red barn has a blue smudge on it, until Carl Jung looks up from the sheep he is shearing and nods at what's left of my outfit approvingly. Oh my goodness, I would totally love to tell you about my writing process. I get up very early. When I went into teaching, I thought, oh, I'll write in the afternoon, but I didn't realize that I would just be completely wiped out every afternoon. So I had to sort of teach myself to get up very early. I get up at 4 every morning. I go to the desk, and then my actual process of writing involves lots of different things. I keep notebooks. I work on individual poems sometimes, weeks at a time. Sometimes things come quickly. I'm always trying something new. I think the one constant is that my writing process is a process of accretion. Sometimes I just realize like, oh, I'm going to take this poem and this poem and this poem and put them all together in a way that's surprising to me and hopefully is surprising and interesting to a reader. A couple of books that I've read recently that I've really loved. One is Pathamata, or The Story of My Mouth by Maggie Nelson. I recommend all of Maggie Nelson's books. I feel like as a writer, she's constantly searching for a new way to approach the world, and all of her books feel really organic and authentic to me. This one in particular, I love the way she chose to sort of follow capturing an experience and incorporating her dreams. And it's a very quick read, but I loved it. And another book I would recommend is Diary by Marissa Crawford. Again, I recommend all Marissa Crawford's poetry. She has an incredibly distinctive voice. I'd love to see what she's doing with her sentences and her lines. She's hilarious. She approaches nostalgia in a way to me that I think I'm skeptical of nostalgia, but never when I read Marissa Crawford's poetry. So yeah, I would read those two. Tips to Help You Do Your Best was published by Tupelo Press, who turned it into a beautiful object, whatever merit the poems may or may not have. And if you read it, let me know what you think. Thank you.